How are you doing? Please say hi in the comment section and let me know where you are joining me from. Please don't feel shy. Say hi in the comment section. Hi everyone, my name is Flora Basie. I am a digital accessibility and founder at Linoratech. Linoratech is an incredible company with the value and mission to help and support tech leaders and professionals in creating easily digital products that are accessible to everyone, including clients, customers, and employees with or without disabilities. Now, let's talk about today's session. But before that, as you all know, I am trying my best to always make the experience that you have with me inclusive to everyone. So I am going to describe myself because sometimes in the audience we have people who are blind or people with low vision or people again with visual impairment. Hi, I am a Black woman. I'm always laughing or smiling. I am currently rocking some dreadlocks, which is quite crazy. I kind of like that. It's black. And I am wearing, like I said, maybe a shirt that is black and white and a suit. Yeah, I look a bit more formal today. But that's about it for me. So, gosh, I invite you to do the same whenever you have a speech somewhere, unless it's not needed, of course. Okay, but that creates a little bit more inclusive experience. Again, just check with the place where you have to speak. Sometimes that kind of help people feel included as well. So let's talk about today's session, which is all about going from darkness to advocacy. You know, and it's a blind journey to independence. As you know, I'm always hosting this session every Friday for only 30 minutes. I am inviting incredible people who are advocate for inclusion. Some of those people have also a disability. So today I have the perfect guest speaker with me. I mean, she is just incredible. I mean, I'm just gonna bring her right now so that we can, start the conversation. But I'm super excited to invite Kayla Crawley here. Please say hi to Kayla. We are going to have a good and fun time sharing great value, hopefully, with you. So if you're hearing anything that resonates with you or that you've learned, give us a reaction, a thumbs up, a heart, any reaction will do. If you feel like you are learning a lot from this session, feel free to reshare as we want to invite more people to join us as well. All right, Kayla, I'm bringing you in. Hi, Kayla, how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you, Flora. How are you, dear?
I am fantastic. Oh gosh, just let me tell you a little bit about Kayla. Kayla is an incredible person. She used to have her side, she lost her side, a lot of things happened. She's right now VP of the blind community. Well, she's going to tell you all about that very soon. She is a mother of three fantastic children. She has a great passion for cooking. Now, some of you might say, wait a minute, did you just say that Kayla is blind? And did you just say that she's cooking? Okay. Kayla, let's wake people up. We are talking about digital product. Digital product can allow people to be more independent. Kayla, I want to say, read a few comments, and then I will give you the opportunity to introduce yourself so that at least my audience get to know you as well. So let me read a few comments. Please, guys,
Sounds
don't be
great.
shy. Thank you, Kayla. I see Christine said hi from Virginia. Hi, Christine. I'm so happy you're here. Eric also said hello from North Pole. Oh, wow.
Oh,
Hi.
wow.
Boss. I mean, Kayla, if you see Eric, he is the replica of Santa Claus. I mean, Eric is going to join me a few weeks down the road, but he's just an incredible person as well. I see Eric just made a comment. Let me just read that quickly. Kayla, I wear a big red suit. Oh, he's self describing. Isn't that
That's
fantastic?
awesome.
Yes. So let me read what he's saying, Kayla. I wear a big red suit, have a big white beard with a mustache that twirls at the end, glasses perched on the end of my nose, always smiling, and often laugh with a head hearty ho ho ho. Isn't that fantastic? All right, Kayla, please introduce yourself briefly. Let us know who you are and what you do and what you're passionate about.
Okay. Hi, my name is Kayla Crawley. I am an assistive technology instructor. I live in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Um, I teach JAWS and NVDA, as well as voiceover. And I also have what we call the Cooking Without Looking class, which is where I teach clients to cook and prepare meals using different technologies from AI to, something as simple as talking measuring cups or talking thermometers.
Fantastic. I mean, oftentimes people will feel like if you are blind, you are limited in contribution, right, in this world or participating in this world. But what you're telling me just from this small introduction is that there is other way, there is also tools that can help, and more. But you know what, I don't want to get ahead of myself. You, Kayla, said something and I was like, what? You said in your journey your vision went on and off and you
Mhm.
went through a lot. Can you tell me a little bit more about that, because you were a sighted person before, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So I was sighted, and at 11 years old, I was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa. It did run prevalent in my family, but it was kind of something we didn't talk about so much. So, not a lot of information there. And after being diagnosed at 11, I actually did not revisit the doctor until I was older and an adult, because, my family didn't have insurance and we didn't have um, the money to afford to go to the doctor and things to that effect. And when I was about 20 years old, I noticed that my vision was really starting to affect my everyday life. And then at the age of 23, um, I had swelling that showed in my right eye. And I'm talking like not just my eye, but my eye was swollen shut. My face was swollen out. It looked like somebody had smashed me in the face a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
And I went to the eye doctor and I found out that not only did I have retinitis pigmentosa, that I also have something that's called Coats disease, which causes periodic leaking and hemorrhaging in the eye. Excuse me. And that my eye had actually hemorrhaged. And I started, receiving treatments and things like that. But at that point, that caused the usable vision in my right eye to
Mhm.
be very slim. I had light perception at that point. And then it happened again with my right eye, and I lost total vision in my right eye, but I still had vision in my left eye, which held firm and steady for probably 3 or 4 years. And then I started having trouble with my left eye, and the Coats disease being bilateral, meaning that it affects both eyes. My left eye started exhibiting symptoms and having problems, and my I lost my vision completely. My left eye had hemorrhaged, and I already had lost the vision in my right eye at this point. So I went from seeing the world at 2050 with limited peripheral vision to seeing the world as nothing, just overnight. And with surgeries and treatments, they were able to bring the vision back in my left eye. And they were able to bring it back to basically what it was before I lost my vision. But this continued to happen year after year after year
Mm.
to the point to where one minute I could see, the next minute I could not. One minute I could see, and the next minute I could not. I would spend 6 to 8 months blind, and then I would spend 6 to 8 months with, the sight in my left eye. And as this progressed and continued on, my every time my vision would come back, it would come back a little worse and a little worse and a little worse.
Mm.
And then by the time we reached the end of that, um, I had only had color and light perception left. And I experienced another hemorrhage in my left eye, and the lights went out. And when I went to the eye doctor, I they told me that they were a very, very slim chance that I would get any vision back, including light perception.
Mm.
And so at that point, after having 7 surgeries and injections into my eye every 4 to 6 weeks, at that point I said, enough's enough. I'm not doing it again, just to have light perception. And I made the decision to no longer do surgeries or injections into my eyes. And I've been total ever since, and that was about 7 years ago. So by total, I mean that I have no usable vision. I have no light perception. I cannot tell you if the sun is up without feeling it on my face. I can't tell you if the light's on without feeling the switch.
Oh my goodness. You know what? This is this is not easy. I, I sympathize with you going through this up and down and having to have sight, no sight, have sight, no sight, and also having to go through a lot, to bring back the sight. One of
Mhm,
the things that you said also clearly to me is that after you made a decision to stop, right? To
mhm.
stop and find ways to move on with this new identity. You were not provided with any support for the
Nothing.
next step. Can you tell me a bit about what was that journey from that point on? Because again, you also got a certification and education while
Mhm.
you were blind. How was that journey? Was it an easy journey to find information, to
No,
get your certification? Tell me more about it.
no. So when I was talking earlier about being 11 years old and diagnosed with a eye disease and not knowing what that meant, I grew up in a very, very small town in Georgia that had zero resources. They didn't have, you know, uh, teachers for the visually impaired or anything like that there. So even though I was diagnosed with this eye disease and losing vision, I had no one to guide me through that process. There were no one. And going to the doctors, they were always more concerned about what was happening with my eyes currently or going to happen with my eyes in the future. But that being their job, worry about my eyes, not worry about what I'm going to do
Yes, to navigate.
outside
Yeah.
to have a quality of life, to have independence and know how to complete day-to-day activities without seeing them. That wasn't their concern.
Mm.
Um, I unfortunately did not receive any resources, and when I made the decision to, no more surgeries, no more injections, I made that decision to no longer seek out treatments. I basically got pat on the back and told good luck. Here's a white cane that you've never used before, you've never touched before.
And they
Good
never
luck.
even taught you anything about a white cane. It's just
Nothing.
go figure out.
Yeah,
Oh
like here
my
you
goodness.
go. Avoid traffic.
Wow.
So um, I had 3 daughters. Well, so obviously I have 3 daughters, but at the time they were younger. They were all either in middle school, elementary school, or high school. Um, and I having those 3 daughters, I needed and a husband. I needed to know, what do I do? How do I take care of my family?
Yes.
But unfortunately, a lot of the times we find out that that's not anybody's problem but yours.
Wow.
Um, which is sad because, people need that direction. They need to be, they need to be pointed into the right direction so they can pursue a better life, a better existence, that independence and freedom of being able to live like an everyday life,
Mm-hmm.
sided or non-sided. And unfortunately, I didn't have that direction. And about 5 years or so, 4 to 5 years into my vision loss, it was actually me, my husband, and my daughters that had done the research to find resources because, pardon the pun, I was stumbling around in the dark figuring out how to do everything that I had to do in everyday life on my own. How do I do the dishes? How do I cook? How do I clean? How do I help my children with their homework? And I found my own solution for those things without any proper training whatsoever. Meaning that when I helped my kids with my homework, my daughter at the time was in high school and she was taking geometry.
Mm-hmm.
That was the hardest thing to get through because geometry is a very, very visual thing.
Yes.
And the way that we would get through geometry is my daughter would take a pen or a marker or a pencil and she would draw these geometric shapes onto my arms or hands or wherever.
Mm-hmm.
And we would do things like that because then I would know the geometric shape. I would know,
Mm.
okay, this is what this is. It made it more tactile for me.
Yes.
And, at that point, that was the only way I knew how to help my daughter with her homework because nobody told me about bump dots or puff paint or wiki sticks or any of these things. So it was just like, okay, kid, have a field day. Um, color me pretty, you know. And but she ended up passing geometry with an A. She graduated with a 4.0. Um, so good for her, good for all of them. My youngest daughter is a senior this year, and she will be graduating with honors as well. So, yay.
Amazing. Can you hear that, audience? I mean, people are sometimes thinking that a person who has a disability is a person, again, who is not able to contribute. But there are a few key points that you mentioned, Kayla. One
Yeah.
is provide me with the resource, provide me with the training, provide me with accommodation so I can still contribute
Yes.
properly. You have kids. You are a mentor for your kids, not only for your kids. We're going to talk a little bit more about your job as well very soon.
Mhm.
But it doesn't stop you from moving forward. You did mention quite also that you had a time where you couldn't do much. You were left alone at home, and then you
Yeah.
made a decision. Again, one of the reasons why I think that it's important to hear Kayla's story is because we, in any spaces in life, in any role that we have, we can make and create experiences that are more inclusive to everyone. I mean, the doctor, I understand that their specialty or their skills is around eye surgery and probably more. But what is the next step for a person who was given, the
Mhm.
status that the new identity is going to be blindness from here moving on? I mean, don't you have resources to guide the person? You might not be the expert, but guide the person toward, the next
Mhm.
phase, the next step in life. In organization, I see a lot of leaders creating products more so for sighted people, sorry, and for a lot of people without disabilities. But the truth is that there are a lot of consumers, employees, parents who are still using those products. So, Kayla, can you tell me a little bit more on you move from, figuring out a lot of things to understanding now assistive technology, getting a certification?
Yes.
So we don't have much time. I'll probably say we have about 5 minutes to kind of provide that information.
So basically what ended up happening is, like you were saying with the eye doctors, there were no guidance there. They quantify sight, not qualify life. Um,
Yeah, that's what it is. And please, audience, let us know what you think about this experience as well. I love to hear from you. If you have any question, drop it in the comment. We can see it live, and Kayla will take a chance to answer that question as well. But let me know what you think.
So
Yes, Kayla, go ahead.
So basically, what had ended up happening is me and my family sought out resources on our own, which is not easy because at the time I was 29, almost 30 years old, and most services for the blind that you find are for ages 0 to 21. So I was a bit older than 21, so that wasn't going to be a possibility for me. So I finally found services in my area that help not just 0 to 21, but people of all ages, 0 to, 120 if the need is there.
Yes.
And I went there, and that's where I met my assistive technology instructor, Byron. And Byron showed me that I was able to use a phone without, telling the voice to text or phone assistant. I'm not going to say its name because I might go crazy. um, to make phone calls or send text messages. He showed me screen readers, which I never knew was a thing. And within about 9 months, I had received my certification in JAWS. I had received my high set, which is a high school equivalency diploma, because I did not finish high school because I was raising my family. I had my daughter at a very young age. And the high set was a very challenging thing because it was not accessible at
Mm.
all. I had to have a scribe the entire time. And to do these math problems were absolutely absurd.
Okay.
I
What is a scribe, Kayla, quickly? Some people might not know what it is. What is a scribe?
A scribe is a person that will sit and read your test to you and answer the questions as you give them. Part of their job is to write your answers, which means that when I had to write the essay portion, that by standard, what was supposed to be required was as I had to dictate this essay to a person, letter by letter,
Oh, wow.
and character, like, punctuation sign by punctuation sign.
Mm-hmm.
And if I didn't say period at the end where I wanted this sentence to end, then they didn't write period. And if they didn't write period, then went during the scoring phase and then them, scoring the test later, I got points knocked off. So I literally had to, like, if I wanted to say the black cat, I had to say THE space BLACK period. And if I didn't do it that way, then I would get points counted against me.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. And I had to do that for an entire paper.
But wait a minute, were they not providing you with maybe a computer or a device that has, assistive technology so you can work with that?
They did not have that approved at the time.
Mm.
However, after going through everything I went through and 2 days of this, 8 hours, 2 8-hour days of this, I finally talked with the program and everything here about accommodations and everything to that effect. And now in Chattanooga, you can, in fact, take your equivalency test using the JAWS screen reader,
Mhm.
which was, they wouldn't let you do before because it was on a locked browser.
Definitely. You know what? That kind of give me, I have a thought in mind, but let me read some of the comments. And please feel free to comment on the page. We can see again. I see, I think I saw Emmanuel, was it Emmanuel? Oh, Manuel, who said, "Hi, Flora, Manuel attending from Tucson, Arizona." Oh, hi, Emmanuel. So happy you're here with us. And I think Eric asked a question for Kayla. What do you say when someone asks, "Are you blind?" And I think that's a fair question because, Kayla, we can see your eyes, and some people might actually think that maybe you're not blind. What do you say?
I always say that yes, I am blind. Um, and then if I get the usual retort of, you don't look blind, I get that often. That is a thing.
I
Um,
know.
or, you don't seem blind. I'm just
Mhm.
like, well, what does blind look like? Let's think about it. And,
Thank you.
I usually try to explain to them that, just because I don't look blind, that does not mean that I don't have a disability. Created equally. They're not all visible. And, I do tell people all the time that I am blind. I am kind of one of those people where I know blindness is a spectrum, and I understand that a lot more now.
Mhm.
Um, but, you know, blind is blind. Just because my blind is not your blind does not mean that one of us is less blind than the other,
That
in
is
my
so true.
opinion.
That is so true. But no, but you're right, Kayla, because at some point I've noticed also some organization trying to move forward and creating digital product will take, for example, one person who's blind and feel like the answers provided, the direction provided by that single person will
Mhm.
work for all people who are blind, but that's not true.
No,
Representation matter, and people are all different. I know, for example, I
absolutely.
had a few weeks ago an incredible person, Sherry Average, and Sherry is also blind, but she said
Yes.
she can see, and she can magnify the screen to also view properly the information, but she used also a screen reader. So again, to your point, you are right.
Yeah.
One,
And that's, I do advocate that with our community is, your blind is not my blind. So something that works for you may not work for me,
so
and
true,
vice versa.
so true.
And I think it's important that people understand that, even if you have usable vision, you're still blind. They're still blind. There's
Yeah,
no difference other than in technique
yes,
and what works for them and what works for me.
that's true.
And so I definitely, if people ask me or, say, are you blind?
Yes.
Then yes, absolutely I am. But sometimes you really have to convince people that you are.
Crazy. And
Um,
it's crazy. But you know what? I want ask you quickly because we are almost at the end of this session, and I hope anybody has heard something that is valuable and can also allow people to see that a disability may be visible. In some cases it might not be visible, like for example, Kayla, if I didn't introduce you as a person who's blind, perhaps no one will know that you are blind if you didn't also disclaim that as well. But
yes.
what will you say for organizations who are trying to create inclusion, diversity, equity, and bring more people to feel engaging in organization? What kind of accommodation, maybe just one or two example or recommendation, can you provide them for a better inclusive accommodation? What do you have in mind?
Um, well, one thing that I always, tell my clients personally is, you know, make sure that you ask them to make sure that, if you're blind or low vision, to make sure that they their websites and work platforms and databases are accessible with a screen reader. Screen readers are a big accommodation for blind and low vision because I would love to say that my screen reader works with everything, but that unfortunately is not the case currently.
Yes.
There is some things that I can try to access that my screen reader will not read.
Mhm.
Um, Now, with AI, that's getting a little easier, but you know, some of the things that are inaccessible to us are things that are as simple as fillable PDFs, whereas a sighted person can fill out the PDF all they want to. But unfortunately, we, as blind individuals and screen reader users,
Mhm.
not just blind, but any screen reader user, because not only blind or low vision people use screen readers, people with dyslexia and other, print disabilities, they also use these screen readers. But you're not able to fill in something as simple as a PDF because it's inaccessible.
So true. And I know a lot of organizations are using PDF document for contracting, for application, for job application sometimes. I mean, the list goes on and on. Bank statement are sometimes sent in PDF that are not inclusive and accessible, or even sometimes merchandise, right? Products,
Yes.
merchandise, and more. I mean, can you let us know in the comment section? I know the time is over. Where do you find PDF in some of your own, in your own space, in your within your own organization? For me personally, I've seen PDF everywhere. But Kayla, I want to thank you so much for joining me, for sharing the light. One of the few key points that I've got from you is definitely provide information, provide accommodation, and
Yes.
let people strive. There are
Yes.
incredible people, amazing people, and they can actually also help organization innovate, because I mean, the people with disabilities are oftentimes looking thing in a diverse perspective. They have a
Yes.
different set of eye on some of the thing, and they can innovate. What do you think?
Yes. And we definitely have ideas on how to make things work. So we're really good problem solvers.
Exactly. Kayla, where can people find you?
You can find me on Facebook. My Facebook is Kayla McKinney Crawley. Um, I also have a LinkedIn, but I haven't been on there in ages. But also feel free to email me at Crawley. That's CRAWLEY 3020 at gmail.com. Um, and you can feel free to reach out to me there or on Facebook. Especially to, if you need guidance in any way or shape to find resources or programs that, could be beneficial to you or someone because that's the big goal here is getting out the information, getting out the resources and sharing them so people don't have to stumble around in the dark like I did for 2 years.
Mhm.
They can go out and find what they need and they can get their life and their independence and freedom back as well.
Information is so much important right now,
Yes.
and gosh, we can talk on and on, but I we need to say goodbye to the audience. Thank you so much for joining us. We have another show. I have another show next Friday for 30 minutes, so tune in. Kayla, thank you so much for joining me. Bye everyone.
Thank you, Flora.